Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow is my name with G&E TV for many, many years. And being a Chinese American myself, I feel especially proud that I not only could cross the culture, but also get informed both ways. Right now, we're talking about the Chinese relations with the U.S. We call it U.S.-China relations. It's getting stronger and stronger. It's getting more and more together rather than apart. And especially right now, we're talking about President Trump taking office. We're talking about China having their national conference for people representative and for their political consultation conferences. And it's a moment to talk about U.S.-China. It is a moment to talk about U.S.-China relationship. It is typically a moment to talk about the cooperations in between the two great nations on the global earth. With me today is my good friend. As a matter of fact, is an icon first. And he is the well-renowned leader of overseas Chinese, and he is the director of the Chinese American Federation. And he's also himself a successful businessman in the U.S.-China trade area. And he is the founder and the CEO of W Implus Inc. So to Mr. Tsai, Edward Tsai, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jack.
We're so glad that you're here. I know you're busy, very busy.
Yeah, I just came back from China.
You came back from China, okay.
Yes.
Good. The other day when Kurt Hageman was here, he mentioned about the trip. You were with him, right?
Actually, I organized the group.
Oh, I see.
I introduced Wuxi City to be the sister city of San Bernardino County.
I see.
Yeah, to build up the bridge. Yeah, we'll talk a lot of corporations between.
And he gave lots of credit to you and says that my Chinese friends are helping me a lot, so on and so forth. And in China, as the supervisor of San Bernardino County, he met with lots of important people.
Yeah.
And actually, Mr. Tsai, Edward Tsai, and being a public figure, he kind of like setting an example, a role model for us Chinese Americans, what to do, what not to do, in terms of looking into the U.S.-China relationship, in terms of getting involved yourselves. Right? I have a few questions to ask you. It's not a Q&A, it's just a chat. Okay. All right, I bring that one by one, just like subjects, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, people believe that U.S.-China relationship is the biggest international relationship of the nowadays world. How would you assess such relationship, and how would you expect President Trump to handle with the U.S.-China relationship, please?
Okay. First, I think the relationship between U.S. and China should be considered as an equal and mutual relationship. China is still a developing country, and the U.S. is remaining its position among the world. And the U.S. and China should help each other based on the people's needs. And for example, build a more stronger relationship between U.S. and China, encourage more international trade, and build more connections between both countries or cities by cultural, economic, and political sides.
All right, very good. You believe that President Trump and his administrations will do anything different from Obama administration in terms of a U.S.-China relationship?
How to say? I think previous President Obama, actually he did a great job to promote the friendship and a strong relationship between U.S. and China. And I do believe President Trump gonna follow up some of his roles. And also, we understand President Trump is as a businessman. He's really realistic.
Yeah, like yourself.
But I'm full of the confidence. I do believe Donald Trump can drive right away to deal with China and with the foreign countries.
I see. In other words, what you're saying is that it's going to be a continuation between Obama and Trump. It's not a denial, say, hey, what you did is wrong, I'll do differently. He will continuously go forward, further develop the relationship, right?
Yeah, my opinion is that each one is different, including the president. And what I think, President Trump, he has to follow up the right directions and do the right things.
All right.
Otherwise, it's gonna break out the balance.
Okay. Balance. Yes.
Yeah, balance. Because the U.S. and China is not small countries. We have a lot of combined and common benefits. Have a lot of exchanges of the cultures, of the tradings, investment. And so he need to be careful on this relationship. So I don't think he can change the whole ways and the directions.
All right, okay.
He must follow.
All right. Okay. Of course, we all understand it takes a two to tango, right?
Yeah.
So in talking about U.S.-China relationship, you're not talking about Donald Trump only. No. You're talking about President Xi Jinping already as the other part, right?
Yeah.
Now, China is now holding its national political consultation conferences and its national people representative conferences. Both are the national major conventions whereby, as we speak, lots of big policies are being made. So how would you assess China would make a move towards the U.S.-China relationship at the same moment, please?
Okay. Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi has stated in the China foreign policy in the foreign relations press conference during the National People's Representatives Conference that U.S.-China relationship should be committed to two transcendence in the future. One transcendence is that U.S. and China have different social systems. The two countries have different development paths and can respect each other and learn from each other. Second, the two countries should go beyond the tradition thinking of zero-sum game. The cooperation between the two countries is far greater than the differences. The interests of the two countries blending cannot be one side of the success of the another side of damage. So Wang Yi continued that the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and the U.S. has been closed to the old concept to open up new horizons and develop relationship between the two countries.
All right.
I think the U.S. they pay attention to the reaction from the Chinese government too, because they don't want to break up the relationship. So far, we can see a lot of involvement of the investment and the tradings between two countries. The two countries rely on each other and cannot break out. Yeah, so
They're
China
kind of like a tie.
Yeah. And China need the U.S. and the U.S. need China too. So that's the current situation, I think.
It's a mutual need for their mutual prosperity.
Yes.
All right, good. All right, my dear audience, today with my good friend, the backbone of the community, Chinese American Federation President, Mr. Edward Tsai, also founder and CEO of W Impulse company, doing a lot of business with China. And he himself is both recognized by the United States government and the Chinese government, invited quite often than not to important conferences. We're sharing his take on the U.S.-China relationship at a moment when Donald Trump is about to finishing his 100-day plan, and China is having their two national conventions. We are trying to see if we can expect a better U.S.-China relationship, we can expect a better U.S.-China cooperation, and we can expect which are those areas needs to be opened in terms of promoting U.S.-China cooperation. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Hello, my dear friends. Today I have the honor to be visited by Mr. Edward Tsai, president of W++ Corporation, and also he is the director of Chinese American Federation, an important VIP being invited to U.S. government affairs and Chinese government affairs for several times, and his view is going to be very valuable. So we are here sharing one by one his view at the moment when Donald Trump finishing up his 100-day plan and China having their 2 national conventions. That's a very thorough analysis. I'm so glad that you quote unquote Wang Yi. I believe that Wang Yi recently made lots of statements that is so clearly defines the U.S.-China relationship, right? Yeah. He first concluded that now we belong to 2 systems,
yes,
right? Of course we have differences,
yes,
right? In analysis of the differences, we see common grounds,
yeah,
right? We do have a common grounds, and in his quote unquote, he says, of course, we have more common grounds than differences.
yes.
So with the new recognition of our common ground, we just broaden our horizon, we'll see more chances rather than conflicts. That's between the 2 countries, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we're talking about lots of people thinking about, even lately for the past 1 week, my friends who are on the show are interested about what China will do, because there is a little period of time people kind of worried about where China goes, where the United States goes, yeah, especially when Trump was doing his election. He's got a bigger mouth. Everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the bigger mouth gets uncontrolled. He might say something, whatever, offend people. That's one worry. The other side is that they have a little bit with the water issue, so on and so forth, Southeast or South China water. And now people worried about, at the conference at the moment when Trump almost finishing his 100-day plan, when China is doing his 2 huge conferences, what the new policies shall be made. So according to Mr. Wang Yi, there shouldn't be any worry about it. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any worry, because I think a lot of people worry about President Trump. He can change directions. He can do whatever he likes to do. But what I think, manage a country is very different to manage the company. So he need to be used to the president of the United Nations, and he's gonna be careful before he speak anything out. Thinking first.
And he is even shaping himself, right?
Yeah.
Correcting himself. He's getting better that way. Right?
Yeah.
Even though I didn't vote for him, I do respect the Constitution. When Constitution says he's the president, I just bend, I obey, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thing is that I still have my worry. The worry I said about U.S.-China relationship include me, my worry. Yeah. Now that with China, Wang Yi says that exactly, and also at the consultation conferences, lots of issues of U.S. made, China made were discussed. Everything is healthy so far. Let's move on. As active as you are, you yourself, I mean, in the U.S.-China business involvement, it might not be a surprise to you if I say that the U.S.-China relationship economically and with trade is such that no one, either China nor United States, could afford not to recognize the other as his partner. Am I exaggerating or am I speaking the fact?
First, I think to a certain extent, the relationship between U.S. and China could be considered as unbreakable, trustful, and reliable connections. It is the fact that both two sides rely on each other and hold each other. So both sides are unable to bear the losses if they lose the connection. Also, this connection is not only based on economy and trade, but also based on culture, political, and many other factors.
Exactly. That helps remind me that former discussion you mentioned about Wang Yi. He says that it couldn't be a situation that one success means the other's failure, right? It's just talking about win-win.
Yes.
Success versus success, like that kind of thing. And in recognizing that, China can't say, hey, U.S. is not my partner. Neither U.S. can say China is not my partner, right? It is true. It's quite true right now, right? I know that you are involved a lot with U.S.-China business.
Yes.
Yeah, it is true. Very good. And if you would, I know that you are invited by both government to important meetings because you're big. You're big enough. They never invited me.
Thank you.
If you ever be in a position to advise or recommend or suggest these two countries, what will you be doing in recommending them what to do, what not to do? You know, there are certain areas there that are easy to touch. And whereas there are areas difficult to touch. For example, even between marriage. For example, me and my wife, I know what she likes. She knows what I like, right?
Yes.
And there are areas I know what she doesn't like.
Yes.
And I better not touch it.
Yes.
And she too, right? So what would you recommend? I know you are involved a lot. You've been invited back to China and Tiananmen for several times, right? So what would you recommend them not to touch?
Okay. China has always attached great importance to Sino-US relations. And China is a developing country, and humanity is a good tradition of the Chinese people in a long history. The development of China needs US. Thus, China has made concessions on many issues. US, however, based on its national benefits, made a lot of tough interferences, especially on some interregional disputations, such as the China South Sea issue, Diaoyudo Island, and so on and so forth. The diplomatic position of the United States is too tough and should develop in a more peaceful way. U.S. should not directly be involved in regional affairs. Instead of that, U.S. should consider more the interest of China, especially the territory issue. The two sides should develop their relations on the basis of equality and mutual benefit.
All right.
And should consider the interests of the country more pragmatically.
Very good. That's very good analysis. You're talking about the fact that to those sensitive areas, I know your sensitivity, you know my sensitivity. Let's do not talk about the sensitivity, at least now. For example, I recall at a time when U.S. launched a war against Iraq, right? At a time when U.S. launched a war against Afghanistan, China did nothing.
Yes.
China didn't get involved. Yes. China didn't even say, hey, you're doing the right thing, you're not doing the right thing, right? No fingers are being pointed, no hands are being clapped, right? You do your own way. That's your sensitivity. I'm not talking about your sensitivity.
Yes.
And on the other hand, you mentioned about Diaoyu Island.
Yes.
You mentioned about South China Sea, right? And other issues. And these are Chinese sensitivities.
Yes.
right? Let China do hold their own sensitivity. You don't want to touch it.
Yes.
Are you saying about that principle?
Yes, I think the countries, they do need to respect each other. And like U.S., there's something benefit to China, and also something relative to the homeland. The better, I suggest U.S. side need to be careful and talk less and do less and let China to handle by themselves. So China, so far, China respect the U.S. very well, and also pay a lot of attention to the benefit of the U.S. And also they know the concern of the United States.
Okay.
So yeah, the very important thing is the two countries need to trust each other, respect each other. Yeah, not going to be peacefully and smoothly.
Yeah, I start to see the logic. The logic being that you kind of like treating your neighbors, right? You want to make friends with your neighbor. You shake hands wherever applicable. Yet they have their privacies,
Yes.
right? You don't want to invade their privacies in order to make friends. And 2 o'clock in the morning, you knock on the door and say, I come here to shake hands with you.
Yes.
And you and your wife are engaged probably, right? So those are the respect areas. I believe the United States is learning to restrict moves from that area too at the same moment. All right, my audience, those are analyses that are so thorough that we come to see a clear picture about what is there as the positivity, what is there as negativity. Of course, there are negativities, there are differences, and the only difference is that you have a bigger common ground, you have bigger positivities. And I believe U.S.-China has more future to look to expect rather than little differences. So stay with us, we'll be right back. Hello, my dear friends, my dear audience, the lovely fellow Americans. Welcome back to the show, Jack Zhao on the East-West Show with G&E TV. Today, at the moment when our President Donald Trump is about to finish his 100th day in office, he's got a big plan for that. And at the moment, same moment, China is having their two major national convention. One is the Political Consultation Convention, and the other is the People's Representative Convention. At both, lots of major policies are being made, including U.S.-China policies. Right. With me today is my good friend Edward Tsai. He is the founder and the CEO of W-Implus Corporation, and also he is the director of Chinese American Federation. Once again, Mr. Tsai, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Very good. I know that China-U.S. relationship, or you call it U.S.-China relationship, is the biggest relationship of the nowadays world. Okay, and there is a saying talking about Russia. If you put Russia on the table, though, you're talking about three major nations. What's your take about the three, please?
I still think the most important relationship in the world now is still the U.S. and China. The reason because U.S. is the most developed country and China is the biggest developing country.
Developing countries, yeah.
Yeah, so economically, they combine each other and rely on each other. So Russia is a very important country. I could say because of the military, but economically, I think Russia, the GDP is just equal to a province of Guangdong.
Guangdong.
So I could not say they are big players on the economic side. Yeah, that's my opinions.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the end of the day, you're talking about money. Whoever has the money, who has the power.
Yeah,
all right?
Yeah, but
that's a logic.
Ministerially and from the military side, they're still a strong country. Even we can went back to the Soviet Union times.
All right.
So they're still very strong at the nuclear weapons and the space science.
Space programs.
Yeah. So yeah, we could not neglect of this exist of the country. They play very well of the foreign relations affairs.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. They're talking about the three countries together. There are more chances of people talking about conflicts rather than join hands, right? Do you see, I know you're a politician yourself almost, right? So do you see any chance the three will come together? I'm really like a dreamer. I dream all kinds of dreams, right? So do you see any possibility or possible days, whoever, or whatever, when the three can come together?
What I think is very, very difficult.
It is.
It is very difficult. The reason because the three countries, they work together, but they have different opinions too. And they have different the views of the social value. They have different kind of the national benefits. So sometimes they work together, but sometimes they argue. I think it's normal. It is the fact of the exist international relationship.
Okay. All right. Back to U.S.-China, there is always different saying. Saying number one claimed that the U.S. to be number one of the world. China claims to be number two of the world. And this is really, saying number one. Saying number two is that, okay, it doesn't matter who is one, who is two. Well, as long as you guys do not fight each other, you guys work together towards your own prosperity, well, doesn't make a difference who is one, who is two. Which do you support?
I agree with you, the second opinion.
Second opinion,
so,
okay.
Because no matter how strong the country is and how much the GDP value you have, I think the country need to respect each other. It's equal and mutual. So you cannot say this country is very important. Yeah, it's very important, but you still need to respect the smaller countries and to be equal, you know, to be fair and to respect.
I see.
That can make the world more peaceful. You know.
And you're saying that regardless of who is one, who is two, as long as you treat each other fairly, equally, well, who cares about who's one or two, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad to be number two if I'm treated equally. Yeah. All right. So you wouldn't be glad if you were not treated equally, you're number one, right? Yeah. So that makes a very sound philosophy. I know as a higher ranking leader of that many Chinese American organizations whose members are the elite elements who are heavily involved with the economic side, with the trade side, right? What do you think? What do you recommend, or what do you see or foresee those areas that sounds to be a field or arena for operation between U.S. and China, yet not opened up?
So we are the immigrants from China. So we have a lot of Chinese associations here, and the first thing I think we need to integrate into the community and the nations, and to build up the bridge between these two countries, and to promote the friendship. Also, we need to introduce the enterprises from China and the U.S. to invest, to trade each other. Yeah, there are a lot of areas we can do, and even in the field of the culture. I think we need to promote the Chinese culture here. We also need to introduce the American culture to China.
All right, okay.
That's very important. The culture is very important to build up the friendship between the people.
Okay, good.
And the friendship between the people is the base of the friendship of two countries. So that can build up the trust and understanding. Yeah, so we have a lot of things to do. Yeah.
Of course, culture exchange is so important. If it is not the number one importance, it might be one of the very important issues, right? When you understand people culturally, right? So for the Cultural Revolution, I really agree with you, talking about not only to promote Chinese culture, but in China, we should promote the American culture.
Yes.
Right. So do you think is it more the United States wants to understand China, or is it more the Chinese people want to understand the U.S.? Whose urge is more?
To me, I have lots of connections to the American friends, companies. I do believe more U.S. people, they need to go to China to connect the Chinese people and to know the Chinese culture. For example, in the mid area, a lot of people even don't know what China is right now. They don't realize.
Okay.
So, but to China, I think more and more Chinese, they come here for tourists, for investment, trading. Yeah, in China is quite open right now. So more, I think compares to countries, I think more Chinese people, they know the American culture, but less U.S. People know Chinese culture. So that's why Mr. Xi Jinping and Obama, they set up 100,000 people's exchange. 103,
yeah. People in cultural exchange programs.
Yeah,
yes.
So that I think is a good target to make the two countries get closer and the people know each other. It is a great thing.
And by the way, the Chinese American Film Festival, which is created, sponsored by EDI, happens to be the 51st of the items among the 103. And the cultural festival for full moon in August is the second one, 53. And we had two among the 103 items, right? The cultural exchange.
Yeah, EDI is a great media.
Thank you.
And not only this, I do believe you already did a lot like a film festival. A lot of the culture exchange, the performance. You invite a lot of the artists, the singers, the folk dancers from China.
We put them on stage,
Yeah, put them on stage and introduce a lot of the Chinese cultures to the U.S. side. Those are great contributions and
you know, Mr. Tsai, I'm so glad that you, as businessman, emphasize this much on culture. And culture exchange is really the foundation of all the exchanges.
Yes.
Without understanding people culturally, you're not understanding people.
Yes.
Right. Okay, my dear audience, today I'm kind of opening up my window, and I start to see a brighter future for a U.S.-China relationship with analysis of Mr. Edward Tsai. He is the founder and CEO of WIM Plus Corporation, and also he is the federal director of the Chinese American Federation. He's got a higher elevation to look at the subject being that U.S.-China relationship has not only a wonderful status quo, but it has a strong future. The strong future leads to cooperation in the field of economy, in the field of trade, in the field of finance, in the field of education, even in the field of culture, which is foundation. Stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, my dear friends, my dear audience, lovely Californians. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East West Show with the G&E TV for years, trying every minute when we can bring information to the show to get our audiences well informed. Today, at the moment when Donald Trump, president, is about to finish up his 100 days in office, first 100 days in office. And in the meantime, China is having their two national big conventions whereby big policies are made. People tend to care about U.S.-China relationship. Number one, the status quo. Number two, where it goes. Number three, its future. Number four, its field or areas or arena of cooperation. With Mr. Edward Tsai, we're having a good time. We're sharing his beautiful thoughts. And he is the CEO of, and founder and the CEO of WE Plus Corporation. And he is the director of Chinese American Federation, General from the Federation. Now, once again, welcome to the show. One last area we wanted to go deeper is culture, or cultural understanding, cultural exchange. Now, I once was talking to a older gentleman. I told him I was from Dalian. He says, where? I said, Dalian, the port, the big port, well known at the end of Liaoning Peninsula. He didn't know. Suddenly, I thought about the second name, Port Arthur. During World War I, Dalian was named the Port Arthur. Oh, I know what you're talking about. That exactly gives you support. You're saying lots of middle-aged, even senior people in the States do not even understand China. Suppose how famous Dalian Port is, right? Yeah. But now people do not know. And in the States, in China, when you come across young people, you check with them about some big names of Hollywood. They know.
Yes.
Hollywood film. And I agree with you. They know United States more than the United States know China. Okay. How do you think other areas that we can still open up for cooperation, please?
Yeah, you're talking about the culture. So, I think the culture is very important affairs to build up the relationship. People need to know each other. They need to learn your history and know where you're from and what you're thinking and how you deliver the message. The people communicate much better, can understand it much better.
Oh, yeah. Yes. You mentioned something very important, learning from history, right? Yeah. That's very important, so important that it reminds me one subject, one whole area about its legal system, about its, kind of a political aspect. Okay, now, if you compare China with what it is now, from legal system by legal system, you're talking about the status quo needs to be improved. Okay, we agree with that. But like you said, exactly like you said, to learn from history though, if you go back 100 years, you will find that China, whereby you have a king, you have a emperor sit there, okay, push him out, chop his head off. And in minutes, the head is off.
Yes.
Right? It is that time, back then, the legal system. From that point on, given 100 years to it is right now, there's a huge achievement already. Right? Right? So, I see the significance of understanding from history, right?
Yeah.
So, what else do you want to promote as areas for opening up, in addition to culture, for China-U.S., U.S.-China relationship or cooperation? Is there a possibility someday, somehow, U.S. and China cooperate militarily?
I'm
I'm a dreamer. I told you I'm a dreamer.
I'm positive.
Huh?
I'm a positive.
You're positive about
it. First of all, I think the U.S. and China, they already opened the door, and they have good communications, and a lot of areas you can see the positive exchange, including culture, and trade, investment. So the militarily, I think this thing is build up the trust. So the country is just like the friend. So if people trust each other, you can do anything.
Yes, of course, yes.
Including the military. I think the U.S. and the side, U.S. and China, as they're not neighborhood. They you go across the Ocean Pacific. So there's no homeland argues between these two countries.
No.
So no any request from the countries say, oh, this island is mine, it's yours. So this is a good thing. So I think the two countries work together, to put hands together against the terrorists and to keep the peace of the world. You're going to benefit the whole world, I think.
It's something very workable, right?
Yeah, workable.
Very workable.
And they can work together.
And speaking of workable, though, during World War II, United States even helped China.
Yes.
Flying Tigers, remember?
Yeah.
The Flying Tigers, right?
Yeah.
And then in protection of the Flying Tigers, no, the bombers, the Chenal Li team bombers, Chinese farmers even paid their lives. They hide them, right? They cooperate with them. And we have a long history of working together.
Yeah.
The Burma Road, the Burma Airport, the build with U.S. help, right? So on and so forth. And plus, United States never invaded China. Neither did China do United States. And plus, China never invaded anybody else. Okay. You're talking about trust. Trust is the word. Trust is the key word. Yeah. If I trust you enough to let you hold my gun, we're okay, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right. And you do the same. Jack, this is my gun. Yeah, you hold it. And I give you, this is my gun, you hold it. And we are no problem, right? Yeah. So I'm a dreamer, like I said. I dream someday that China and the U.S. and China can shake hands militarily, and then that could be the utopia of the world.
Yeah, you're talking about U.S. and China work together during the war period. But the
war?
Yeah, no, I mean
during the war.
War. So I think in the peaceful time, U.S. and China has more reasons to work together.
Good.
Because a lot of areas in the countries, there's a small wars between the countries. And the U.S. and China, they both, as the big country, they do have the responsibility to help bring down the argument, the wars. They can work together.
Like you mentioned, there's no conflict of land, of territory. No. Only whose name is bigger. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. When they come down to think of the second time, oh my God, what does the name do? Yeah. Right? Yeah. What does the name do? Yeah. And then probably they will see to the bottom line, all right, let's be strong together.
Yes.
All right. Okay, my dear audiences, today the message is let's be strong together. Let's be strong together. U.S.-China relationship. We're talking about a relationship built during wartime, developed throughout history. Even we successfully went through with the Cold War period, and nowadays, during the past 2 or 3 decades, it get developed in a fast way. And now we're looking into its future to see its future, how the future looks, and we see more cooperation opportunities. And according to my friend Edward Tsai, military shake hands, that's very possible.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. My dear audience, we're over time already, but it's still worth it. And thank you for watching, my dear audience. To Mr. Tsai, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.